What's up, everyone? Adrian Morrison here, and I am stoked to be doing this interview, which I don't do very often, with none other than Russell Brunson, the founder of ClickFunnels. What's up, man?
Hey man, I'm doing amazing. Glad to be here with you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's interesting because I've been following you for so long. I've got all of these ClickFunnels awards and everything, and I just got your book set here, all about your new book,
Yeah.
Traffic Secrets. So this is sick. Thank you very much. And I don't actually read a lot of books, but these are books that I always look at. These are books that I always read. I have not read Traffic Secrets just yet because I just got this, but they're just full of knowledge. So I'm happy to have you here and ask you a couple of questions, and maybe you can share with my audience a bit more about this book and how they can crush it with some traffic.
Very cool. No, I think it's like perfect timing now. Everyone, some people have successful businesses, and it's like, how do you grow? And like I think you and your brother probably win more awards than everybody else in the ClickFunnels community combined. So you guys know the secrets, right? And it's interesting because I look at the difference between someone that wins like the Two Comma Club award or the Two Comma Club X award, which means you made 10 million, or the Two Comma Club C award, which you guys both got them. It's not like they have a different business model, or it's like not that they have like 50 funnels or 100 funnels. It's like understanding how to drive more traffic into those funnels. Like that's the big difference between the 7, the 8, and the 9-figure earners, is just understanding traffic. And so I think it's the thing that most people are really missing right now.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. Obviously without ClickFunnels, I wouldn't have been able to achieve a lot of the success that I've had because I'm not good with websites and I'm not good with managing people either. So for me, it's epic to be able to go in there and build stuff. But you're right, the traffic is super important. And I run a lot of Facebook traffic and a lot of YouTube traffic. And there are secrets to running traffic that your average Joe starting out, even your intermediate marketers don't know about. And they're actually quite simple, but you just don't know what it is you don't know.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I think you're really good at, or that I know for a fact you're really good at, is discovering exactly who your customer is and how to find that customer. Because no matter how great your product is, if you're not putting it in front of the right person, you're not going to get any sales. So, I mean, how do you do that? Like, what is Russell Brunson's take on finding the perfect customer for any product?
Yeah. I think one of the mistakes a lot of people make, especially because over the last like 7 or 8 years, like Facebook ads have been so easy that people come in and they're like, oh, I'm just gonna buy Facebook ads. And they understand basic targeting and stuff. And that's how they think about their business. But when I got started, I think I'm in like 17th or 18th year online. Like we didn't have Facebook. It was before MySpace. It was before Friendster. Like back then we were trying to figure out how to get traffic. And so we had to think about things differently. And the guys that I studied from were like the old school, like direct mail guys and radio guys and newspaper guys. Like that's who I learned from initially. And what's interesting with them is you really have to understand, like, the first step is like, who is your dream customer, and really understanding them at a deeper level than I think anybody online really does. Like understanding who they are and what their, like what their pain points are and like what they're looking for. Are they a searcher? Are they a scroller? Like just getting deep into the mindset. And after you really have a clear picture of who they are, then the second question is like, where are those people congregating? And this is what makes, like, when you understand those two questions, it opens up the traffic world so much bigger than just Facebook ads or just Google ads or just YouTube or Instagram. It becomes this huge world because, like, for example, let's say I'm selling a fitness product, right? And I understand my dream customer, who they are, and say, okay, where are they hanging out online? Like, what are the blogs they read? And, so they start asking that question, it's like, oh, there's 100,000 of my dream customers who read this blog, and there's 50,000 who read this blog, and this one. And then I start saying, well, what podcasts do they listen to? And all of a sudden it's like, oh, there's 45 podcasts that they're plugging into while they're working out, listening to for an hour a day. And that's like, what email list are they on? And all of a sudden it starts opening up your mind to like, oh, it's not just Facebook ads or Google ads. It's like all these other things. And it opens up this huge world when you really understand who they are and where they're congregating. In fact, back before we ever started running Facebook ads, I used to, on my iPad, I remember iPads just came out, and I think the site's still around, but it was stumbledupon.com. I would download StumbleUpon on my iPad, and I'd sit in bed, and in there you put in like the things you're interested in. Like, I'm interested in weight loss or business or whatever. And then you just click this button, it would like find random sites that are similar to what you think. And I think most people use that just to like find random sites. But I was like, okay, I need to find sites that my dream customers are hanging out on. So I put in all the demographic info for my dream customer. I sit there in bed just clicking on it. And I started finding like, oh, here's a blog I'd never heard of in a billion years that's got 50,000 readers of people learning how to make money. And I click another button. It's like, oh, here's a guy with a newsletter that does, the same thing. And like, I would spend all night and I'd come out every morning with like 30 or 40 new sites that my dream customers were on. I could instantly get traffic to those the next day. And so it just kind of opens up the world of traffic so much bigger than just what most people are thinking through. Most people I talk to nowadays, I'm like, how are you driving traffic? Like, oh, Facebook, oh, Instagram. And I'm like, what happens when Zuckerberg gets shut down by the government? Or what happens when like I've lived through like 6 different Google slaps. Like, you guys don't understand, like, we've had it so good for so long and those things don't always last. And so it's so important for us now to start really mastering this strategy before it's too late.
Yeah, 100%. I used to use StumbleUpon too to find different niche websites. It was a great tool.
That's
And I
amazing.
used to do media buying on like, weather.com and weatherbug.com and stuff like that. And I think you're right. I think that's an important thing that you've pointed out, is that a lot of people think the only way to get traffic is Facebook or is AdWords, but you're very creative, and real marketers are very creative in that they find other avenues to get super targeted traffic that's actually in many cases a lot cheaper than paying for ads and a lot less risky. And you got to set up your business so that you're not dependent on one traffic source. I've been through all those same Google slaps as you. MySpace, I was killing it on MySpace back in the day, dude, with a Twilight CPA campaign for the vampire movie. I'm actually kind of embarrassed of it, but I made some money on it, But obviously getting traffic is important, but then knowing how to talk to the traffic is also extremely important. So one thing that I'll admittedly say that I absolutely suck at, that I look to people like you for a lot of help on, is how to frame a story and how to frame the right hook. Like, I'm good at buying traffic, right? But in terms of knowing what my hook is, and you have something in your book, Traffic Secrets, called the hook, the story, the offer, and the attractive characters. So, tell me a little bit about that and how someone who has no idea how to find their customer and then speak to their customer, what's the best way for them to get started?
Yeah. So I'll explain the hook, story, offer concept, and then I'll kind of show you how I use it. But I always try to picture like my dream customer. So usually most of us are on their phone. I picture them like sitting on their couch and they're bored out of their mind scrolling through, or they're going to the bathroom and they're scrolling, or whatever, like wherever they're doing, they're scrolling at, right? And you figure like they're scrolling like crazy going through here, and you got to be able to stop them in their tracks, right? And so that's what we call a hook. Like, what's the hook you can throw out there that just grabs their attention? And the hook doesn't provide any value at all. All it does is it just stops them, right? And so you got to start thinking like what hooks do I have? And the hook can be anything from, it can be a headline, it could be an ad, it could be a video, it could be the background of an image, it could be like there's so many things. The hook is just something that grabs their attention. And then after you got their attention, you got like a split second, right? They're scrolling their stuff like, what is that? And in that window, now you got their attention, you're grabbing them, and now you got this little window where you can tell them a story. And the goal of the story is to increase the perceived value of whatever it is you're selling, right? A good example is like us hanging out right now. Like, this is probably gonna be showing up on an ad or on a video or on YouTube or something where hopefully we hooked your attention, and now we're telling you a story. And the goal of the story for me is I'm telling you the story with the goal to increase the perceived value of the thing that I'm gonna be selling you eventually, right? So I tell you a story, increase the perceived value, right? Wow, I do need traffic in my business. And then I'm like, oh, I'm gonna make you an offer. So I make an offer, you should go get a free copy of the Traffic Secrets book. So hook, story, offer. So I grab your attention with the hook, I tell you a story to increase the perceived value, what I'm going to sell next, and then I make you that offer. And that's like really, like, that's the game, right? There's the media buying side, but there's like, how do we get their attention, then tell them the story, and like that part of the process. And the book goes deep into that. But the way that you become good at that, because people are like, well, like, I'm not that creative. Like, how do I flex that muscle? And honestly, I don't think I'm super creative either. But what I do is I go to like Facebook or Instagram or anywhere that I know I want to be. The first thing I did is I unfriended all of my high school buddies and all of my friends from college, because I didn't want to like get in political debates. And instead I went and I found, who are the people that are already talking to my dream customers? Like, who are those people, right? I call them in the book, I call them your dream 100. And so like I would follow you, I follow Tony Robbins, I follow like whoever's already speaking to my customer, I follow all them. And then when I wake up in the morning, I look at Instagram and I scroll through here, all I see are a whole bunch of my competitors, my friends, my partners, whatever, who are all doing the same thing. They're all throwing hooks out there, trying to get attention of our customers. And I started being able to watch, like, what are they doing and why are they doing it? Like, oh, that was really cool how they did that. Like, for example, I saw Tom Bilyeu's wife, Lisa Bilyeu, on Instagram the other day. She posted this picture, and it was her holding a sticky note like this, and it had like something on a sticky note. And I saw that, I was like, it caught my attention when I was scrolling. I'm like, whoa, what is that? And I looked down, and there was like, I don't know, 5,000 comments, all this stuff. I was like, that's working really good. So the first thing I did is I went and I ran and grabbed a sticky note, had my wife write something because I got horrible handwriting. I had to take a picture of me and I posted it, and that thing got tons of engagement, tons of views, and tons of traffic. But it's often it's like paying attention, like what are the hooks other people are throwing out that I can then look at and model for my market as well. So that's kind of how we do it.
That's exactly how I do it as well. I never claim to be creative or
Yeah.
or to invent the wheel. I always go look at what other people are doing. And I think the most important part of what you just said is that as soon as you see a good idea, you immediately take fast action. You don't write it down and say, I'll do this 2 weeks from now. You immediately went and, mimicked that ad or that creative, which is what a lot of people, need to do. So you don't have to be a genius to write copy or to come up with a good hook. Everybody else is actually doing a lot of the work for you and giving you the ideas, which is what I specifically count on. That's how I got all of those awards. I didn't really come up with much myself, other than, buying the traffic. Another thing that you talk about in your book, Traffic Secrets, is having traffic that you own, which really was intriguing to me and has always been intriguing to me, is not always having to buy traffic. So how do you get traffic that you can own? Like, what is Traffic Secrets going to explain to people that are reading this book about owning their own traffic?
Yeah. So in the book, I talk about there's 3 types of traffic. And the first is traffic that you control, right? So I don't own this traffic, but I control it. So for example, Mark Zuckerberg owns a bunch of traffic, right?
Right.
He lets me, you go to him and be like, hey man, can I give you some money? And then you just divert some of that traffic to me. He's like, sure. And that's how we buy ads, right? So he owns it, but we can control it by buying ads and we can push it to wherever we want. The second type of traffic is traffic that you earn. So this is not something you're paying for, but you're earning it. So you're going out and you're doing podcast interviews, you're doing Facebook Lives, you're putting in the effort to go and earn it, right? And when you earn that traffic, you can post it somewhere, right? So if I do a podcast interview with someone, I can do the podcast interview at the end, be like, go get a copy of my book over at blah.com, right? So that's traffic you control, traffic you earn. And then the best type of traffic is traffic that you own, which is your own email list, right? This is how I know you made so much money. Like you have your own customer list. And so for me, it's like most people look at traffic of like, I'm gonna go buy ads and sell my product. It's like, no, you missed it. You missed the strategy. Or I'm gonna go on a podcast and sell my book. No, you missed it, right? When I'm controlling traffic or I'm earning traffic, the only goal of both those things is to convert that traffic into traffic that I own. So I'm going to Zuckerberg. He owns the traffic. I pay him some money. He's going to drive it over here. And the only goal is to get somebody's email address. So now they're on my list. Now I own that traffic. Because I promise you guys, for those who have not had a chance to live through a Google slap or a Facebook ads account shut down or all the things that happen, it is the scariest feeling when you're like, my traffic source shut off and is gone. But if you own a bunch of traffic, like, well, good thing for the last 3 years, I spent all my ads driving people to a landing page where I got their email address because I've got 100,000 people on a list or 30,000 people on a list. And I can use that while I'm trying to figure out other traffic sources because I can own that traffic. When you own the traffic, you can send it wherever you want. You can be like, send it over here, send it here. But for me, like that's the entire goal of traffic is to go out there and find it and then get it to the point where you own it. And when you own it, now it becomes really, really easy at that point. And I think a lot of people miss that piece of it. They're just focused on the arbitrage. If I spent this much on ad, I made this much money and I'm going to just keep doing that. It's like, it's a short-term business model. The long-term is having a customer list so that when something dries up or when something shifts or the economy freaks out, you have the ability to own traffic and send it wherever you need it to be.
Yeah, I would say 99% of people doing marketing, especially starting out, they're chasing the dollar, spend money to make money, spend money to make money. Whereas I always teach that building an email list, traffic that you own, creates longevity, stability, and security. And that's what you really want in a business is not necessarily going for the sale every single time you're purchasing ads, but building a list. Because once you got the list, you can convert the sale. And that's what y'all are really, really good at is when you get a list, right? How do you go in and how do you nurture that list and get it to buy more stuff? And I believe that's what's going to be done with follow-up funnels. But before I ask you that question, there is a big issue with traffic in terms of like Facebook and Google slaps and getting shut down. Do you guys talk about in Traffic Secrets, how to avoid that or what to do, any contingency plans to have in case you do get shut down? Because Facebook is so weird, dude. Like they'll just ban you for absolutely nothing. And then they'll say, we're sorry, we're wrong. Like 6 weeks later after your business already tumbled,
Hey, we already laid off 40 employees because of you, but thank you for admitting you're wrong. Yeah, I think the biggest thing it talks we show is I show that in the section 2 of the book, we show this process called the Fill Your Funnel framework, and it's like understanding this framework. There's 6 steps in it, and it's a framework that works in any network. So if I go to Facebook, it's going to show me what's working in Facebook today, or if I go to whatever the network is. But it's nice because it also works moving forward. It's like when TikTok came out, I had some friends who were like, I'm going to test this framework on TikTok, and they took it to TikTok, and sure enough, it worked. And then they took it to Twitch, and like they're like new networks gonna be coming out. You know, who knows if Facebook will be here tomorrow? May or may not be in it. And there may be the new network that comes in, and it's like understanding that when you understand the strategy of how to go into a network, figure out what's working, figure out the history of the network, where they're trying to go, and then align with that. It becomes really easy to get traffic. And so I think a big part of that is understanding that skill set. So that way it doesn't matter if you do get shut down. It's like, okay, I shut down. I can either create a new account, or let me transition my stuff. You know, a couple of years ago, we were 100% relying on Facebook for almost everything. And then I started freaking out. Like, one is a scary number. And then we started shifting to Instagram and YouTube and Google. And then all the other stuff you learned about in the book, so many other different places we get traffic from now. But it was for me being paranoid of like, what happens when that shuts down? And I think if you prepare yourself now for that, when it happens, it's like, oh, that sucks. We lost that. But it's like, it's one, it's a little piece of our traffic wheel. It's not the business. It's not the lifeblood of our company. If one traffic source is the lifeblood of your company, guys, that is the scariest thing. From someone who's gone through that multiple times, like you do not want. One is the scariest number in business.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. And I think what's cool about what you're teaching is that you're showing people a strategy that you can apply to multiple different networks. And it's true, once you know how to dominate Facebook, chances are that most of those strategies are going to work on YouTube, and they're going to work on TikTok, just in slight different tweaks. So once you learn how to get traffic and the true secret of converting it and getting it, I really think that you can use the model pretty much anywhere, at least right now. And then of course your email list is a fallback. If something happens to one of my Facebook accounts, man, I've got so many different follow-up funnels on the back end of all of my marketing. The majority of the money that I make is through back-end monetization and is through the follow-up funnels.
If you saw this, you're gonna love this then. So in the chapters called follow-up funnels, I share, because a lot of people are I'm like the funnel guy. Like, they see all my funnels, like, oh, that's how Russell makes his money. So I actually walk through it's on page 89. I show 4 of our funnels that people are probably aware of, like our book funnels, things like that. And I show the stats, like, here's how much we spent on ads, here's how much we actually made, and like, it's not that much money, but here's how many leads we got. I showed it a 30-day like snapshot of a window. And then I took all the leads we got from those funnels, and I showed the next 30 days, like what happened in the follow-up funnels. And what's insane, I want people to understand this, for every $1 I made inside one of the funnels that you guys have seen, in a 30-day window, we made $16.49 from those leads. So 16x as much money came from the 30-day follow-up funnel as the original funnel. Like, that's the power that I think people are missing. It's like, I have a funnel, it's break even, or I'm losing money, I'm only making a little money. It's like, okay, that's step 1. Step 2 is the follow-up funnel with the traffic you own. Here's how you communicate with them and how you make the next sale, and all the rest of the things from there.
Yeah, 100%. That is so sick. Like, and you're actually even showing in here, like, straight up drawing step by step of how the funnel should be laid out and everything like that, which I know my community specifically absolutely loves step by step, where they see case studies, they see drawings and everything. I think that this book is going to be super important for anybody starting out, obviously. When you're creating a follow-up funnel though, like, how long should a follow-up funnel be? And this might be one of the last questions I have time to ask you, but how long should a follow-up funnel be? Mine is like literally 2 years long of like follow-up funnels. So when somebody gets on my list, if I were to like die tomorrow, for 2 years, I know I would still be making money from people on my list. I think it's a bit absurd, but it's awesome at the same time.
That is awesome. I don't know how you've done. I wish I had more discipline to do that, because I agree. Like, in a perfect world, your follow-up funnel would go for forever. Mine typically are usually 30 days or so, and then I move them I do a follow-up funnel, and then 30 days I drop them onto a broadcast list, and then I send out a daily email at that point. But if I died, it would stop after 30 days. So I think your process is way better.
I don't know. I mean, it really all depends. Like, I run an info business, so people always want to learn info from me, but someone with like an e-commerce funnel, for example, might do things a little bit differently, right? But yeah, it is nice to have, and it does take a lot of discipline to do it. But in 30 days, you could afford with a proper follow-up funnel to break even on the front end or even lose a little bit of money and then make some serious bank on the back end. And I think that's the mindset that a lot of people don't have that they should have. But if they understand how to get the right traffic with the right hook and the right story and everything on the front end, the idea is obviously to profit on the front end. So if a complete beginner read this book, which you definitely should if you were watching this, trust me, is this going to take them pretty much from zero to, okay, now I have an action plan and I'm ready to go to battle. I'm ready to launch ads and I know the exact strategies I need to use and framework, right, to start getting traffic.
100%. You know, it was fun writing because it's deep enough that like advanced marketers are like, oh my gosh, I never thought of any of these different ways to get traffic. Like it's that, but from a brand new beginner, it leads you by the hand. It shows you exactly the process. You know, someone asked me the other day, like, you know, is this book, who's it for? Is it for the beginner or whatever? And like the reality is, if you don't have if you have a business, it's like, yes, apply these principles, you get more traffic. If you don't have a business yet, like this is probably, the most valuable skill set you could possibly learn because, you know, in any business, like the person who, we always call them rainmakers, the person who can make it rain, right? Who can come to a business and say like, I can bring customers in the door. I can get people to show up at your website. That is a skill set that is so valuable. Literally, I have friends who go into companies and that are struggling, like, hey, I can bring customers in your door, but I need 20% of your company. And people are giving it to me like, oh, sure, if you can get people in the door, here's equity in my company. And especially right now that we're watching this economy get all shaky and shifty and companies are going to be going under like crazy. If you can like over the next week or two, like go through this book and learn these skill sets, you can go into companies who are struggling, but look, I think I know how to get traffic for you. I can grow something for you. So it becomes something you can do even if you don't have a business. And if you do have a business, that it's fuel on the fire. So I think for both sides, if you're a beginner, man, there's nothing better to learn than this skill set because you can write your own, you can be an affiliate, do it for other people's businesses, do it for your own. But man, it's something that everyone needs to really understand and master.
Yeah, especially if it's what you're doing. Because like I said, I mean, I've been doing internet marketing for 13 years. You've been doing it a little bit longer than me, I believe. And I have no ego in that I love following people just like you, multiple people that are doing big things and are always on the cutting edge. And I always feel like you can learn more. And I truly believe that a mentor is the key to success. And then being able to, you know, have like, I actually kind of look at this as like a journal of like the things that you actually are implementing in your business, more so than a book, because it just legitimately goes through every single little piece of the puzzle. So make sure that if you're watching this, you get Traffic Secrets. It's an epic book. The last thing I'll say, because I know that you're limited on time, is what's one piece of advice that you would give someone that's watching this right now that's just getting started, has no idea where to start? What would you tell them to do in getting traffic?
I think that the place I would start is definitely, it comes back to like the first step in the book, which is like figuring out the customer. Like whatever business you're in, it's like becoming really good. Who is the dream customer I want? And then where are they congregating? Like that is the game. People always ask me, because I'm not the person in my company who buys the Facebook ads, the Google. Like I don't know how to do those things. But my job is to sit back and be like, where are my dream customers hanging out? I'm like, oh, they're over here. I found a blog. I found 3 more podcasts. And I'm looking where those spots are, because every one of those spots is like a pot of gold. You know what I mean? So I find this pot of gold. It's like, oh, I have access to this. Like there's people there that I can now, you know, throw my hooks out and get their attention and bring them back into my funnels. And I think you start becoming good at that and really figuring out who do you want to serve, and then where are those people at, and then getting yourself in those congregations. You start seeing what they're doing. You start listening to them. Again, people always think that I'm super creative. It's like, I'm not creative. I know where my customers are at, and I go and I listen really carefully. Like, what are they looking for? What do they want? And they tell me what products to create, what books to write. They tell you exactly everything you need to know as soon as you find those people. And if you become good at knowing who you want to serve, finding those people, then they'll tell you everything you need about how to get their attention, what products they want, what services, and it just becomes really easy at that point.
Brilliant. All right, man. Well, thanks so much. Look, if you're watching this, there's a link below this video or somewhere so you can get Traffic Secrets. I got the entire box set right here. I got everything that you put out. I got, no lie. I go buy everything because it's always epic. So I'm going to take a quick screenshot. All right. So thanks, dude. I really appreciate everything. Thanks for the book. Thanks for the time. I know that this is going to benefit everybody that has watched this video. So thanks for coming on, dude.
Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate you too. And we'll talk again soon.
All right. Okay, dude. Thanks.
Thank you. I appreciate it.